welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast. Excuse me, Real Talk Podcast. Tongue twister, man, it's been a minute. Season 2. Wow, we welcome you all. We thank you all for coming back. Thank you for all the listeners that have stuck with us, all the listeners that have continued to support us through this, through the season gap, and then for those who continue to follow and those that will come, we are super excited to be back. There has been so much that has happened from the last season to this season, and I'm just excited to see what's going to take place, the conversations we're going to have, the interviews that are going to take place, the topics that may come about. So don't forget to continue to drop those topics that you guys want to hear. 2023 has been a crazy year so far, not just for myself personally, but literally if you think about everything that's happening in our world. For the month of August, what we got going on, the Montgomery brawl, that alone has been epic in the African American community. That has been the biggest, end all be all. We come together. That's the we the people moment for African Americans. But it's just so funny. I think last month was the girl. I don't watch much news, but I think it was the girl that lied about being kidnapped. There's literally something every single month. What can we really say about 2023? Dramatic much, right? just over the top. But other than that, nonetheless, it's been a beautiful year. It's been just a year of so much growth, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, and it's a blessing. I know for some people it's been a rough year, and for those of y'all, my love is with y'all. I hope that you will reach out for any help that you need, and never be scared to say that you need help. So it's one of those kind of situations. I know life is getting hard. It's either it's really you're at the top or you're at the bottom. That's really just where everything has come to be, and it's tough. It's really, really tough. And so kudos to y'all who are out there kicking butt every single day, who are grinding, working multiple jobs. Just know that everything that you desire will come to you. So, but enough with the rambling, y'all. I've missed y'all. It sounds beautiful in here. It sounds exquisite, chef's kiss. But no, honestly, today's topic really kind of go alongside of a little bit what I was just talking about, is really just about removing what doesn't serve you. I know 2023 has had a lot of ups and downs. It has had a lot of dramatic things take place. It has had a lot of social things take place, but really you got to figure out what serves you, right? Me personally, the news does not serve me. So I have no idea what happened with that case with the girl. If one of y'all want to inform me and you hop on and we talk about it, please do. But I have no idea the entire in and outs of it. But the news does not serve me. I am a mental person, intellectual person. So for me, the news really taints my mind. It makes me feel things I don't need to. It makes me take on things I don't need to. And yes, it keeps me aware. It keeps me updated. But social media does enough of that. You really don't have to watch the news. I think the news just projects what they want you to see, all the bad in your community versus the good, And so to see the good, I got to go talk to the people, be with the people, experience the people. So, that's just something that I personally have experienced. But, back to what I'm saying is removing things that don't serve you. That can go for anything. That can go for family, friends, relationships, jobs, hobbies, habits, addictions. All of the above. When you really think about it, family can be toxic. Family can be heavy. Family can be a burden to your current dream. And it doesn't have to be that you remove them forever, but it could be a season. It could be is it what's the word? I can't think about it. I don't want to say hiatus, but it'll come to me, y'all. But taking time from them, your friends as well. Your friends may be people who love to go party and hang out, but they're not really adding much value to you. Maybe they're your social friends versus your growth friends. There is a difference. Please know that. Just because y'all been friends for 20 plus years doesn't mean that they are the people who are going to uplift you and help you push you to your next level. Just keep that in mind. Relationships. You may love this person, but they may be weighing you down. You may not even realize it. You got mad love for them, but you're blinded by that love. You are blinded by what they have made you feel versus what they're doing for you currently in your life, because you're not the same person you were at the beginning of that relationship. And that is always something you have to keep in mind and watch for. Loyalty will be the burden to you. Honestly, it can be the reason you remain in situations and places that you don't have to. And it sucks, but it happens. Jobs can be stressful. Jobs can be, my gosh, jobs can be like so draining that you don't even like people anymore. You don't even like certain things anymore. Jobs can be exhausting. And when you're working multiple jobs, I hope that you guys are finding a balance, finding what, again, serves you, your hobbies, your habits. I mean, waking up first thing in the morning, drinking, smoking, nothing against it, but at the same time, is it serving you? Is it helping you be productive? To all my people who say, oh, I have anxiety, oh, it helps me focus. Does it really? Or like, I would love somebody to explain that to me, only because, I feel like for those that I've experienced, those people, those relationships that I have with people who do literally smoke 24/7, people who do drink 24/7, it's like, how far do you think you could have been if you maybe would have cut back some? How far do you think you could have gone with focusing on yourself, or focusing on what you desire, or getting closer to your dreams? Do you really think it's been helping you, or do you not realize that it has not been serving you? You just don't know it. You know what I mean? It's just a habit that you have, or an addiction that you have that you can't even get rid of. You don't even notice that it's an addiction. That's kind of where it gets tricky. But anyways, I'm veering off. A lot of the times I've realized that people are like exhausted. People are, oh my gosh, life is so much. Life is, like, it's not the same as it used to be, which it's not. Like, living today, trying to live in an apartment, trying to get into a home, trying to do anything with your finances, it's stressful. But a lot of times I've realized it's not about your finances. It's about who you are. It's about how you see the world. It's about how you move within the world. It's about what you choose to focus on. It's about what you choose to fill your mind with. And a lot of the times, people are saying they're so drained. Your cup really may not be empty. It just may be filled with the wrong substance. You know what I mean? Like, it really just may be what you surround yourself with, the things that you listen to, the things that you allow to enter your mind, your body, and your soul, including people. It can be the things that really you love the most, being the things that keep you down the most. I mean, your cup really isn't empty, because there's so much in this world that can fill it, but you're choosing to allow people to, instead of liquids, instead of something that flows, instead of something that gives you what you need, you're allowing them to put some dirt in there. You're allowing them to put some Jello in there. All the wrong types of substances is filling your cup. Therefore, your cup, it may feel empty, or it may even feel full, but it may be full with the wrong substance, and it may be empty because you've allowed yourself to really pour into all the wrong places, all the wrong people. And it's really unfortunate. I think it's kind of sad. And nowadays, I think about like high school, all the friends a lot of people had, like people who are popular, people who had all the friends, all the jocks, all of that, right? They had so many friends, but when you look up and you see where they are now in life, it's kind of like, do they still have that support system? Do they still have those kind of people who can, be there for them? Are they where they think they were going to be? A lot of people who played sports, a lot of people who did like performing art kind of things, and people who, even myself, I did performing arts. For those of you who listened last season, I sing classical music, opera, and I thought I would be anywhere but here. But it's not a problem at the same time, because I'm grateful for my journey. I'm grateful for my path. I am still singing. So everything happens in God's timing. Everything happens for a reason. And it's really trying to figure out what helps you feel yourself the most. Like, what makes you feel whole? What makes you feel at peace? What makes you feel like calm? You know what I mean? What makes you feel like you're grounded? Because when you feel like your equilibrium is being pulled here and pulled there and really out of place, that can really get you into the wrong situations. That can really set you apart in a bad way. Not necessarily closer to where you want to be, but maybe further or maybe stagnant. Yeah, there's no timeline. I do want people to know that there is no timeline in which you achieve something or success. And success looks different to everybody. I mean, success does not have to be a plethora amount of money, abundance of money. Success could be abundance of time. Success could be reaching a certain level in a specific company. Success could be finally getting your own place, getting your first car. Success looks different on every single person. So don't allow my version of success or any other person's version of success, including your family, your friends, your job, your boss, whoever, their definition of success, determine what you feel proud of within yourself. Don't allow them to say, you know what, well, this is where you should be, or this isn't that. Well, where were you last year? Right? They weren't there when you were down and out. They weren't there when you were struggling. So don't allow somebody else's version of success to be the reason you start to become hard on yourself. Somebody else's version of success become the reason you start to doubt what you've overcame. You start to doubt the things that you've pushed through. I mean, life is tough. Like life is really tough. And I think people, it's funny, I was talking to my partner about this the other day. Some people go through so much in life that they lose empathy for people who struggle. They lose empathy for people who go through pain, who go through just certain things in life that they may have already overcome, and or certain things that they may not have experienced. And so it's tough to say, you know, oh, well, you should be here at this time in your life. I mean, let's be real. I'm almost 30. I'm 2 years from 30. I'm in a brand new apartment, but I'm not in a home. I don't have kids. I'm not married. So that timeline is already all the way off, right? 21, picket fence, family, kids, dog. Like that's out the window. So, you know, I always really wanted to have like that age gap that my parents had with myself and my sisters versus like what it's going to be. And so, meaning like with my future kids. So like I was always hoping to have that type of age gap. I love the age gap between myself and my parents and my siblings. And so knowing that I'm many years behind and that's not going to happen, it's like, I got to take what it is. I gotta be grateful for the fact that I can still have kids regardless, no matter the timeline, you know what I mean? Removing things doesn't have to hurt, you know, removing things that don't serve you. You really just have to know your worth. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know what you should put up with and what you shouldn't put up with. And the only way you're going to know what you should put up with, or what you're willing to put up with, I should say, is based on how you love yourself, right? Based on how you treat yourself on a daily basis, right? So you're only going to put up with somebody else's BS of not meeting your standard if you allow yourself to slack, right? You're not going to allow somebody else you're going to accept somebody else's lack of affection. You're going to accept that continuously because you lack affection for yourself. You think that's what you deserve. You think that's something, right? I really do think nowadays in relationships, somebody buying you flowers, that's the bare minimum. I mean, come on, that should have been on auto pay. I mean, from the beginning. That's just the type of person that I am. Because that's the bare minimum. Like flowers is something anybody can go get. You don't have to pay for those. Those are free. You can go to a garden. You can go to a park, pick some, give them to a person. That's the bare minimum. You know what I mean? And so knowing what you're worth, knowing that, okay, the God that I serve, or whomever you serve, the universe, the person, whatever. I don't really judge people in their religions, or what they believe in. But for myself, the God that I serve, knowing who he is, knowing what he has sacrificed for me, knowing what he has done for me, what he has helped me overcome, who am I to lower my standard? Because his standard is beyond what I could ever ask for. You know what I mean? He has exceeded all things. I mean, he's literally died on the cross for my sins that I don't even know about yet, sins that I wasn't even able to recognize, sins that I was not even able to recognize, the known and the unknown. And so being in a space that I know the type of man that loves me, and don't get on that debate about man, female, black, white. This is not the platform for that. That is one thing I think I will always exclude out of my podcast, is debating specific things about religion. We can talk religion, but the back and forth about female or male and black and white when it comes to God, I think that is just your own opinion. Anyways, again, veering off. And again, knowing your worth, knowing that where you stem from, your values, your core values, not just, you got to show up for me. Anybody can show up for you. How can they add value to your life? How can they help you become a better version of yourself? How can they help you become a better person? How can they help you be kinder to yourself? How can they help you find what you're good at? How can they help you become better in a specific area you may lack? Or I'm not saying they have to be the answer to your problems, but they have to be able to add to them and not add to the solution and not to the problem. And so knowing your worth will make it easy for you to remove things. And it really won't hurt so much, because it'll feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. It'll feel like you finally came up for a breath of air out of water. It'll feel like, ladies, you'll understand when you finally take that bra off at the end of the night and you're able to scratch and stretch. I mean, that feeling tops it all, right? But that is something, that's what it's like. That's what removing what doesn't serve you feels like. It is like, I don't really have another comparison, y'all. That was probably the best one I had, right? But it's understanding that, like, think about it. I how do I say it? So, like, I like to think of a snake. You know what I mean? Snakes, they shed skin because it doesn't fit anymore, or it may be old and worn out. And I'd be like, why can't we as humans do that? Of course, not literally your skin, right? You can't do that. But the things in your life, like, you can shed your life. You can literally go and move to a whole different city and state and create a whole new life for yourself. You're shedding skin, right? You can do that with the people in your life. You can do that with the job that you have. You can do that with the people, I think I said that already, but the people you surround yourself with, the kind of things you surround yourself with, the type of shows that you watch, the type of music that you listen to. If you're not listening to music, if you're reading books, if you're not reading books, if you're going to church, if you're not going to church, like, these are things that you can literally revamp by just making a quick decision. You know what I mean? Like, you can decide at any moment. You can decide right now to be completely different than you were 5 minutes ago. You can say, you know what, this is the time, this is the day, this is the year that I'm going to finally say, you know what, I deserve better, I deserve more. All things that give you any ounce of doubt, all things that give you any ounce of fear. And of course, things are still going to come up that give you these things, but it's going to be in a different way. It's going to be in a new chapter that, at this point, you've become a person that can overcome these things, that can face these things head on versus run from them. You know what I mean? When you shed that skin, it's kind of like you're rebirthing yourself. You are allowing yourself to live in this new space, in this new version of you, in this new, what can I call it? It's like when a butterfly comes out of the cocoon, like, it's kind of like that. And so you have the ability to really become whoever you desire to be. Like, that's the beauty that I love life. Like, I explained this to one of my friends recently. One thing I can never say is I can never say I regret anything in my life. I may have been through a lot of crap, but I don't regret a thing. I don't regret the million changes I've had to my hair. I don't regret the millions of styles that I've worn, whether they were masculine, feminine, this and that, whatever you want to call it. I don't regret experiencing different cultures, dating different cultures. I don't regret anything. Why? Because nobody can ever tell me that the person I end up deciding to be is a fake or a facade, because I've been able to experience everything that I wanted to get to this point. You see what I'm saying? Like, never allow yourself to be hindered by people, situations, circumstances, or whatever, and things that don't serve you to block you from being able to experience who you could be. Like, you will never know, and you will never get I'm never the type to say, what if? Like, that's the last thing that will get on my nerves. If you put me in a what if position, I'm going to really, what's the word? Despise you. Only because I'm a person who feels free in my body, free in my mind, free in my soul, free in my life. Now, that doesn't mean you neglect the things that you need to do, your responsibilities, your bills, your job. But what I'm saying, you get my point. It's not that basic. I'm talking more on a deeper level. It's understanding that I have been able to venture through the different versions and chapters of my life as whoever I wanted to be. And I was able to decide, like, hey, you know what? I like this. Let me keep this. Hey, I don't like that. Let me remove that. Oh, you know what? This was different. Maybe I should try this again in this new version of myself, with this different mind, with this different heart, with this different view of life, with these different set of eyes that God has given me. Like, when you start to morph yourself and choosing to be more like God, because you pick the pieces that make you a better person. You don't pick the pieces that keep you down and out. You don't keep the pieces that keep you or surround you with negative things or people. You pick the pieces that make you feel more like you. And you'll know what that is, because your soul will be satisfied. Your mind will be satisfied. Your heart will be satisfied. And when you get to that point, it's like, man, I'm so grateful. Like, I don't care how long it takes. You know what I mean? There's been times my family hated when I cut my hair off, right? My family hated when I would dress a certain style. But at the end of the day, it wasn't about them. Like, I couldn't do that for them. I had to do it for myself. So, I mean, you got to shed the skin. You know what I mean? You got to... It's kind of like you got to realize that when snakes grow their skin, like their new skin, it doesn't grow with them. Like... How do I say that? They outgrow the skin, right? Like, their bodies grow, but their skin doesn't grow, so they outgrow the skin. Simply put, you've probably outgrown places and people in your life, but yet you're still trying to drag them along. They don't fit anymore. They're not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to work here. You're not supposed, you know what I mean? Like, those different places and spaces and people, like, you're not that person anymore. Stop trying to be that person. Stop trying to be who you used to be. Like, I know some people who say, you know what? Oh, I was always great at this, or I was always a leader. I was always this and that. Maybe try being an Indian for once. Maybe stop hearing yourself talk and learn something. You know what I mean? Like, try putting yourself in different positions. Do things that make you uncomfortable but keep you safe. When I say do things that make you uncomfortable, I don't mean anything that anything that can obstruct. The words are hard. Anything that can hurt or taint who you are, your heart and your mind. That's the point I'm getting to. I was struggling with the words, guys. You got to drop the skin. You've outgrown these places. You've outgrown these spaces. And so when you've come to realize that, man, I'm really not the same person. And it could be in the slightest way. It doesn't have to be even in the, oh, I'm this grand person. I read books 24 hours a day. If y'all can see me right now, I do all these different things. I wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and those habits those are things you have to that's over time. Like, becoming that person you may see on social media. Oh, I wake up every day at 5 a.m. I go to the gym. I read my book. I drink my coffee. Then I get to work and this and that. Blah, 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 blah. Like, those habits are created over time. And some of them may even just record it for that episode, you know what I mean? Or for that scene or that clip for social media. They may not even do the same thing again the next morning. So don't fall for the things that you're seeing, but also understand to shed the skin. Like, dang, I think that's what I want to call this episode. Now that we're talking, I was going to go, and I'm mad I'm talking this with y'all, but still, I was going to call it removing what doesn't serve you, but shedding the skin sounds just as good. You know what I mean? Man, my listeners are a reason that I continue to grow. Like, as I'm thinking and I'm talking about shedding the skin and what serves you. And this is like, my podcast is a reason, like, I'm forced to grow because I'm forced to think outside the box. I'm forced to be in different spaces and have hard conversations at bars, right? Hey, sorry. But to do these things, and it's like, man, like, if I don't have these people in my life physically currently to do this to me, to push me in a way intellectually that's like, think outside the box, or that can even have these monologues, even though I'm talking to myself right now in a sense, it does, you get my point, right? These are things that I'm grateful for. You know what I mean? You have to really put yourself in a space that's like, wow, like, yeah, that's me. Like, I'm that person. Being that person or being forced to do these things is like, it forces me to shed skin of old ways of thinking. Excuse me, I got some water right here. It forces me to, like I said, think outside the box. It forces me to think deeper about conversations, about certain things. You know, a lot of people are confused and like they continue to pray, like, why am I still in this space? Or why hasn't this happened for me? Or why haven't things changed? And wholeheartedly, honey, you just haven't shedded the skin. Like, you got to remove those things. You have to remove what doesn't serve you, no matter how big or small it is. Things that don't serve you. So when you think about the word serve, right? It's to perform duties and services. But I think I looked it up before. Services, let me see. Y'all know I got my handy dandy iPhone. Services, it says right here, the action of helping or doing work for someone. A system supplying a public need such as transportation. Let's remove some words on that one. A system supplying a need. Simply put. A system supplying a need. I mean, what do you need? That's actually probably where you should start. If you feel like you're stuck and you feel like you're struggling, figure out what you need. Figure out what, and then like reevaluate what you have. And this can be in any aspect of your life. It could be people, it could be relationships, which is always complicated, but something that you have to comb through as well. Finances, work, school, anything that you're in or a part of. Comb through what you need, like find what you need, comb through what you have, and see what aligns. And if something doesn't serve you, remove it. Like, to be fulfilled doesn't mean you're making grand gestures. Oh, I'm shedding all my friendships, or I'm losing this and that. Sometimes shedding something in a friendship could simply be having a conversation. Could simply be saying, look, I don't like the way you do this, or you hurt my feelings like this, or I just feel like we're growing apart. Having conversation is simply, maybe they felt the same way. Maybe they thought you were in a different space and you needed space. Same thing with relationships. Having those conversations, shedding skin, removing what doesn't serve you. Could be choosing to be alone more often, choosing to be in a separate space, choosing to be, like for myself, like I feel like I think on a grander scale when I'm isolated. I think I think on a grander scale when I am in a space or feng shui that allows me to feel comfortable in my state of being, and that is a being, if that makes sense. But find something that supplies the service for what you need. Find someone who supplies the service for what you need. And this doesn't mean like you have to really be like, oh, they have to pay my bills and blah, 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 blah. That's ghetto. We're not going to do that, right? We know what I'm talking about, right? If you have a need to be, to feel protected, a need to feel secure in a relationship, a need to feel understood, a need to feel affection. If a person cannot supply those needs for you, remove them. Like you're just going to keep waiting for it or looking for it, and you're not going to get it. Finding a job that supplies your needs, not just simply, benefits, right? Because a lot of people, hear me out, work jobs that have benefits, but the job is like extreme hard labor. Like, is it really worth it? It's breaking you down physically, but I got benefits. Excuse me, that's not how it works. I explained to somebody even a couple days ago, the one system I hate the most is like food stamps and stuff like that. I hate that people will allow themselves to submit to that system of, well, I'm only going to work, I'm going to cap myself at working this many hours. I'm going to cap myself at how much money I can make at this one job, only because I want to keep my food stamps. Where if you chose to let go of the food stamps, right, what doesn't serve you, hear me out, right, what doesn't serve you, and choose to find a job that pays you more or has much more to offer long term, food stamps won't even be something on your mind. That won't even be a thought for you. You don't want to raise your kin on working for food stamps or working to get food stamps. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to help them learn to become to sustain their own finances, to not be able to have to depend on the government to supply their own food. Right? You want to have your own money coming in that you ain't got to worry about that. Make more money so you can have more money so you ain't got to worry about the government's money. Like it's not, and a lot of people may object because I get it, times are hard, but at the same time, I mean, how much longer are you going to allow yourself to be on the wheel? You know, it's going to be forever, and then you're just going to pull your kids onto the wheel, and then it's just continuation. It's unfortunate. But we have the ability to change that. And so if you're in a job that doesn't serve you, you got to find what else, right? I know one thing is the God I serve. The God I serve. Sorry, I literally had a thought mid-sentence. I'm stating the God I serve, and the word that we're pretty much discussing is the word serve. And the God I serve, I think about, do I meet his standards? Do I meet his needs? Am I supplying the service for his needs? What is his needs? His need is for us to spread the gospel, to spread the word, to bring more of his people to him, to help non-believers believe. And I'm not here to convert anybody. I'm not into that. I'm just going to express my life and my experience to you. And if you choose to allow it to help you think otherwise, or to even raise a question or allow a mustard seed to be planted, I mean, my job is done. You know, I don't have to pull you to church or force the Bible on your head. Or, to be honest, I can't say I'm one of those people who have sat there and I read through the entire Bible. I have not. But that does not deter, or it does not devalue my knowledge of him and or my experience of him, and his love and his grace and his mercy. So it's interesting. It's a question that I just stated, like, do I supply the services for his needs? And it's not really for me to sit here and talk about and go back and forth about, but it really made me think just now. Anyways, I just hope and pray that you all can take the time and find the strength within yourself to remove what does not serve you, to shed the skin that is that you have outgrown. Allow yourself to be in a space that you can control, because you may not can control everything that happens in this world. I mean, as we can tell, right? You can't control everything that happens in your family. You can't control everything that happens in your relationship. As much as we think we can, we can't. Because there's a whole nother person in that relationship, which you cannot control a person. You cannot control people. All you can do is really choose to be who you want to be, and then allow that person to add value to those you allow yourself to align with. Y'all, I'm not going to hold y'all. I'm choosing to make this season episodes just a tad bit shorter. And I'm hoping that it keeps you guys coming. I hope that we can have some great topics. I hope that we can really sit down and have some deep conversations, some funny conversations, some life-changing conversations. Have some guests on here that can really, really bring us some gems and bring us some laughters and maybe some tears. And tears are healthy too, so let's not knock those. I hope that this can really be a season of transformation, not just for the podcast and not just for myself, but for anybody who's listening, for anybody who is who has subscribed or who will subscribe. Maybe, an episode can truly speak to them in a way that something hasn't been broken down to them before. And so, the Real Talk is really just here to keep it real with you, to help you open your eyes and not just, just to really help you open your eyes to what else is out there, to what they're not willing to teach us, to what is skipped over. I'm losing my words. What is cut that. And I'm really hoping that these episodes can be something that really helps you all just become a greater version of yourself. And information that you can take on for yourself and share with other people, share with your kin, your friends, your family, whoever. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell them to check us out. You got us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Also follow us on Instagram. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a amazing day. See y'all next episode. Bye-bye.